Welcome to week 6 of our ongoing social media training. This is technically the last week of new material, so if you've been with us all the way, we have a weekly open Q&A class on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central, so feel free to join that. The Zoom link for that is found on our Facebook page. Today we're going to be talking about some scheduling tools that are out there and looking at it from the perspective of again, with our 5 pillars to social media success, looking at content and specifically talking about best times and tactics for posting. So I just made a few slides because I was going to spend more time actually doing this live in front of you, but wanted to talk today about Buffer. Buffer is a free .com service that allows you to connect to your social media profiles, which is a convenient thing. It does a couple other things which we'll take a look at. It'll track some analytics for you. It'll track some engagement for you. But the really cool thing about it is that it lets you schedule content out ahead of time. And so when you couple that with the content that you can find on Soundboard, then if you'll budget a little bit of time, every couple of days, you can create a number of posts on various platforms ahead of time and then not have to think about going and finding content or logging onto the Soundboard every single day. Let's go ahead and just hop over here to Buffer and I'll show you. I'll start here. This is when you sign up for an account, you begin to connect your networks. Okay, so what it does is Buffer has 2 options. They have a free option and they have a $10 a month option. The free option allows you to connect your Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google Plus accounts, and you can connect 1 profile per platform. All right, so if you manage multiple Twitter handles, if you have a Facebook personal profile and a business page and a group that you're a member of that you want to be managing all through this, then you do have to upgrade to their $10 a month plan. Okay, same with LinkedIn if you manage multiple profiles. Pinterest, they give you a trial for a couple of days a week, and then you do have to upgrade to their $10 a month plan for ongoing use of that. So let's go ahead and we'll get into the Instagram piece here in a minute, but I'll show you. I'm going to head to my dashboard. You can see that I've got my personal Facebook, my personal Twitter, and my personal LinkedIn connected at the moment. If you're not familiar with Google Plus was Google's attempt to take on Facebook and build their own social media network. It launched 2010, maybe 2009. It didn't really take off, but it still exists. So let's pull up the Soundboard here, and I'll show you how this works with Buffer. So let's find an article that we're interested in posting. Here's a good one, 35 healthy breakfasts to start your morning off right. That's a good one to put out in the evening so people can plan ahead a little bit. So we've got the article, the image here. Let's share this. Remember, with Soundboard, we provide some suggested text for you, so scroll through until you find something you like. And then remember, each of these 6 buttons, if you push them, the content is going to go out right then. But we want to hit the Buffer button, and we want to schedule this post to go out ahead of time. So this brings it up in another window. You can see here that since I've got my Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn all connected here, that they're all lit up. At the moment, this is going to be scheduled to go out on all 3 of these, which is a good thing. But if you don't want a certain article, like this is recipes, that's probably not the best LinkedIn article. You can turn off and on whatever you want. And then we're working on this. This is actually a Buffer issue, but Buffer does not auto copy this text. So if you would like to use this suggested text, you need to come back to that screen, copy it, and paste it. So this is what it's going to look like on Twitter, and this is what it's going to look like on Facebook. And then you can do a couple things. I'll get to this, what that means, just add to queue here in a minute. But let's go ahead and hit the arrow and let's schedule this post. So we want to schedule it to go out at a time when people are really looking at content and getting the most engagement with it. Typically, your peak Facebook hours are about 6 to 8 a.m., whatever your time zone is, and then about 6 to 9 or 9:30 p.m. at night. Sometimes there's a little bump around lunchtime, but basically when people can get away with looking at their phones, the longest is peak Facebook time. Typically, it's not always perfect, and I'll show you how to figure it out better, maybe for your own audience here in a few minutes. But we want to schedule this. Today's Wednesday. So I would like to schedule this during peak Facebook hours. So let's go ahead and schedule this to go out about 7 p.m. tonight. So we schedule, takes a few moments for it to add to our buffer queue, and then it'll bring us back to Soundboard. All right, so let's go over here and hop to buffer and take a look. Let me refresh here. Let's take a look at our queue. All right, so here's our queue. We now have this message scheduled to go out. We can see what time. We can change it if we want. We can see how it's going to look. And you can edit it if you want to change anything before it goes out. Okay, so this is going to go out. This is how it's going to look on Facebook and Twitter. And then we don't have it for LinkedIn. So that's why it says a 0 here. Okay, so it's queued and ready to go. Now let's go ahead and schedule something for tomorrow morning. I found a cool little video, 30-second workouts, no excuse workouts. This is a good thing to share in the morning. So let's share. Let's do, that's going to be pretty long for Twitter, so let's get us a new message. Here we go, hashtag 30-second workouts. So we're going to buffer this. Let's go ahead and copy this. Let's buffer this to schedule it, and just paste in our text. And this one, why not send it out on LinkedIn? Everybody on LinkedIn is concerned about their health, right? So let's schedule this for tomorrow morning, and let's have this again during our peak hours. So we want this to go out in the AM. We'll be top of everybody's feed in the morning. So what we've done with Soundboard, and in just a couple of clicks with Buffer, we've scheduled the next 24 hours of social media content, and we don't have to worry about it again. But there's some other cool features that Buffer allows you to do. So if you come over here and you want to manipulate it, you can switch these, you can drag them around. Again, you can do whatever you want to it before it goes out. There are some cool features that Buffer provides. I want to take a look at the schedule here. Okay, so you can set up a schedule for you. I've done this based on the Facebook analytics that I see with the Healthy Living Soundboard Facebook page telling me that generally that morning and that evening windows are peak. But once you start using Buffer, and once you start getting engagement on your posts, Buffer will make its own suggestion for you of posting time. So you can come to Schedule and then try our optimal timing tool. So you click on this, you tell it what platform you want it to look at, and then about how many posts a day you expect to do. And then you hit calculate, and now it's telling me that, wow, we have a major peak of engagement about 6 or 6:30 a.m., 6:40. So again, that 6 to 8 window is a huge peak. And then my next engagement bump comes around noon. And then my evening gets a little bump, but not much. So you can hit replace existing schedule here, and Buffer will start to schedule your stuff based on what it's telling you your audience does best with. And I think that's a great thing to do. So now when you come over here and find an article on Soundboard, let's treat this a little differently. Great article about apples. Wonderful. We've started sharing more of the article here within Soundboard. You may notice that. So we can share. All right, so again, let's buffer this. You'll notice that this particular one is too long for Twitter. So we have two choices. We can either just choose to not send it out on Twitter, or you can chop it up. I don't really care to take the time to do that because it's so many characters over the count. So I'm just going to turn Twitter off for this particular message. And now we're just going to add to queue. And it's going to decide when the best time for this to go out is. And we don't have to think about it again. Now, what Buffer will do is when you come over here to your analytics, it will tell you the engagement that each post has gotten. Okay, so you can tell not only, and this is obvious on Facebook if somebody comments or likes it, but it'll also tell you how many click-throughs it gets. All right, so how many people are actually reading the article. So this one I posted the other day, 5 steps for overcoming obstacles. It only got 2 likes, but 3 people actually clicked through and read it. This one, it only got 1 like, but 12 people clicked through and read it. Okay, so this is, I think this is a really interesting data set here, and very valuable because, you know, again, Facebook only tells you these 2 things. You can't really tell this. And when this number is higher than this number, you know that people, even if they don't engage with the post, are reading it. There was one down here. Look at this one. This is so cool. It got 1 like, but 132 clicks. I don't really have a great explanation for that, but whoever liked it, they couldn't get enough of this article. So anyway, this kind of stuff happens, and this is a great way to kind of gauge success apart from just what Facebook will tell you. So keep that in mind with the analytics. Now, there's some other things in here that you actually have to upgrade to their $10 a month plan. This is a dummy graph, but it'll tell you, you know, based on how your posts are doing per day, what's going on. So there's a couple of things here that you do have to pay the $10 a month to get, but it's just like neat charts and graphs. Okay, so that's Buffer. And I think that it's very user-friendly. I think the interface is easy to understand. I don't think it's overly complicated. If you are in a different time zone, you can change your time zone, especially if you're on the other side of the world in Australia. Make sure to do that in your account. The next one I wanted to point out is HootSuite. And HootSuite basically functions the same. It's a scheduling tool, but HootSuite I find is a little more complicated. It has a lot of bells and whistles that I truthfully have not taken the time to learn every single aspect of, but it does have a pretty unique distinction, and I put that here, is that it lets you connect any 3 platforms that you would like. So here you can see for free. So you can see I've connected my personal Facebook and a business Facebook page and my Instagram account. And this is a nice feature for people who don't really want to pay Buffer's $10 a month plan to manage multiple Facebook profiles through. You can use HootSuite. Again, for 3 profiles, it's free, and both Buffer and HootSuite have a free app that you can do all of this through mobile if you would like to do that. HootSuite can also spit out some in-depth analytics for you if you're interested in that. But again, I'll show you the interface. It's a little bit more complicated. So I've already created an account. Let's go to my dashboard here. So there's a lot more buttons, and this is really, I think, built for a power user. But if you go to your profile, you can see this is what's connected, and then if I wanted to add a new one, it would let me do that. You can see all the things that you can add here. I've gotten a lot of questions through the soundboard, people wondering if they can use the assets provided on soundboard to their WordPress blog. And so we don't have a WordPress button on the soundboard, but you can do that through HootSuite here. The thing about Instagram, I want to spend a few minutes talking about Instagram here, because HootSuite advertises in Instagram, Buffer advertises in Instagram. Okay, so here's the technicality of the way that these work. These services let you schedule Instagram posts out ahead of time if you have the image, but it can't actually complete the post. It sets it up in a schedule, and then it will remind you to do it. And so if you're doing this through mobile, you can create the post on Buffer on your mobile device with the image. You can schedule it, but then when it's time to do it, it won't go out automatically like it does on Twitter and Facebook and these others. You still have to open your Instagram app and complete the post because Instagram does not allow outside usage or outside systems to post to it, okay? So I'm going to show you using Soundboard the workaround for that. So I'm going to stop the share on my desktop here, and I'm going to share the screen on my phone. I have to push a few extra buttons here to make this happen. Okay, so first thing we want to do is go to the Soundboard. All right, now I've already logged in. And now let's search for an image. All right, so now we have this list of, well, yeah, that one came up as an image. I'll have to fix that. So obviously GIFs, the motion things don't work on Instagram. So let's come down here and find one of these meme style quotes that we've created. Friendly reminder, these are all created in-house. You don't have to ask permission to use them. You can use them however you want. But since we're on our phone, let's go ahead and find one we like. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. So this, at the top of the screen here where it says Arthur Ashe quote, is actually a live link to where we host the image on our site. So tap that, and all you're looking at now is the image itself. And now I want to tap and hold on that on the screen until this window pops up. And when we hit Save Image, this actually saves it to our camera roll, just like in the other photo. So now, when we come over here to Instagram and we're ready to create a post, that looks good. So we can create a post, and the image is right there in our camera roll, just like all the other pictures of my 6-year-old who takes 100 pictures of herself every day. So then you can create the post just like you would anything else, and you do your filters and whatever you want to do to it. Friendly piece of information here, you know, when you want to share this to other platforms, Instagram images always come across looking great in Facebook. I don't think they populate very well on Twitter. It will send out a link, but it doesn't send the image with it. It just sends an active link to the Instagram that somebody has to then click on. So I would say don't worry too much about doing that. But that is the workaround for Instagram's very locked down API, because they don't let these outside systems complete the post. That's their choice. That's their right. Their Instagram, they can do that. All right, so let's go back to the desktop here. And then I was going to leave y'all with one more thought here, because I've had a lot of questions come through about LinkedIn and how to best make connections on that platform and how to use Soundboard content on there. You know, when you're on LinkedIn, when you go to the home screen, there is a Facebook style feed of articles that your connections have posted. Right? So you have the ability to share content here, and people are not always as familiar with this part of it. But you can get some great attention if you are doing this on a frequent basis, posting business related content. I've got to do some more homework on how you connect with people. I don't know if this is a Facebook style algorithm where the people that you're more connected with show up, or if it's like Twitter, where just everybody that you're connected with, this shows up in chronological order. My gut is that it just shows up in chronological order, because I have people in my LinkedIn network that I don't personally know. You know, I've always treated LinkedIn like, if you ask me to be your LinkedIn friend, of course I'm going to say yes, because who knows what that's going to lead to in 5 years. So I think it's just a good practice to do that, to regularly be sharing on the platform, and then, you know, occasionally checking this feed and commenting on what other people are talking about, especially if you know them. Like, this is somebody, he's a client at a company, and so I would probably, you know, want to take the time to respond here and interact with him. But you know, provide business minded articles. You know, we do provide those on the soundboard. Post those to Instagram. Be visible on the platform. Make those kind of connections. So you can do that. We have an Instagram button. I keep saying Instagram. On LinkedIn, we've got a LinkedIn button here. It functions just the same as the Facebook or Twitter. It's going to bring up the share window. Paste in our suggested text. You can share it with everybody or just your connections. No reason not to. Make it public, and there you go. So just a couple of clicks, and you are done. So I think, unless anybody has any questions, that has wrapped up what we want to talk about today. Get done a few minutes extra, get yourself a little bit longer lunch. Thanks so much for joining. The recording for this will be on our Facebook Healthy Living Soundboard page. And again, starting next week, we're going to start the 6-week cycle over. For those of you all who haven't heard it all, we're always getting more and more people learning about this series. So just going to start it back through. The topics will be announced week by week on the Facebook page. So if there's one thing in particular that you'd like, or, you know, I'm always open to suggestions for information about anything else that you have questions about. Always remember, on Thursday mornings, 10 a.m. Central, I just opened the Zoom line, and I'll take questions from anybody, soundboard subscriber or not, about social media, and any questions, thoughts, comments you have there. Happy to help. But thanks everyone for joining, and have a great day.